Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, afternoon in Africa. My name is Doug Brunke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. I see we have a sprinkling of folks coming in from Africa and around the world. We are dedicated to helping members connect up everywhere in the world, and Africa, like India, at least in our minds, is the highest priority future market when you think about population growth and the potential. It's just spectacular. 54 countries pulled together now with AFCFTA. It's a variety of different markets that are growing so effectively. There are certainly challenges there, and that's part of what Global Chamber is all about, is to help our members navigate those challenges. We have, I believe, 67 metro chapters in Africa in the 54 countries, and 59 of them have someone in place who's leading the chapter, and some of which are further along, where we have more presence, and hopefully some of those more folks will be here today and be able to provide some updates on what's going on in terms of opportunities. The first opportunity we'd like to get to is from Philip Auerbach. Philip, I was really pleased to hear about the initiatives that you've gotten. I remember maybe 6 months or so ago, I heard it felt like almost in passing, but this sounds like it's something you've been working on for a while, and you've got two different initiatives that you'd like to share today. Would you be okay with doing that?
Yes, that would be wonderful. Thank you. You can hear me, correct?
Can, absolutely.
Yes. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Philip Auerbach. My company is called Auerbach International. I've got really three ventures. Auerbach International primarily is a language translation and interpretation firm, whereby we translate and interpret any kind of file you have, books, documents, websites, videos, anything, into hundreds of world languages with precision and accuracy, which AI does not do. And my other two services about Africa tie into that. One of them is called GRSG, Global Resilience Solutions Group. And we are a startup, and we help to, we're targeting to reverse the $5 trillion of US dollars of losses every year due to supply chain blockages. So if you're in Africa, you certainly know about issues with roads, with cold storage, with phone connections, with internet connections, with corruption, bribery, lack of documentation, and so forth. So we've got various services to address these blockages, to help resolve these issues, and to therefore impact and improve local economies. We are starting in Ghana with this one, but certainly the solutions apply anywhere in Africa. So one of the solutions is called Context Bridge, and this deals with regulation, documentation, certification that you would need to export to world markets. Very often, gathering this information can take months. Through our solutions using very sophisticated AI plus human intervention, we can reduce that. Another deals with honey. And again, this can apply to different export markets as well. But this involves providing the certification, the audits required, the dashboards required for the smallholder honey farmers to make the honey traceable, financeable, and exportable. And again, this is often blocked in different stages, so our solutions can unlock those blockages. For aquaculture and fisheries, we have a solution to document the provenance, the origin of where the fish originate, to ensure that they're disease-free, and to document a chain of custody, which is often an issue of where corruption can happen. Someone claims it, other people, dispute that, and so forth. And this is for farmed and wild capture fisheries as well. For cocoa, which is the major export of Ghana, we have various solutions to address the deforestation risk attestation, which the European Union is now requiring as of December, and the logistics data to meet these requirements. And for other solutions, for all of these solutions, again, people are involved at every step of the way to ensure that these solutions are verifiable, monitorable, and the chain of custody is maintained. If documentation, in the case of where documentation is required for export markets, again, if the origin is in Europe, for example, if this documentation is in other languages, my language agency would translate it into English or into whatever indigenous languages are required. So that is the venture GRSG, Global Resilience Solutions Group, for which we are raising funds. The other venture is called EEIC, which is Education, Empowerment, Innovation, and Communication. This is primarily focused on Uganda, but again is a model that's replicable all over the world, both in Africa and in other countries. And in essence, as in most African countries, there is an enormous problem of unemployment and underemployment, where 50%, approximately 50% of people under 35 are underemployed or unemployed. So in Uganda, the government has set up what is called in British English skills centers. In American English, we would call them vocational training centers. And this is a program to basically transform vocational education. So when all of you were in school, I'm sure you remember that the teachers talked at you with whatever methods they did, very often lectures, sometimes participation, and you were expected to memorize or take notes or remember what the teacher said, regurgitate it on an examination. That's how you got graded, and that was it. And hopefully you survived the system, and all of you are here today because you did. However, as you probably know, there are many ways to learn. And what EEIC does is to take the documentation that the government has provided for these vocational trainings, whether it's in auto mechanics or hospitality or sewing or plumbing, whatever the skills may be. And we use a method, a very sophisticated method, to transform the courses into 5 different learning styles, 5 different learning strategies through a very sophisticated AI method. And when a student starts a course, he or she puts on a headset, and through a 30-minute test, the system can detect the student's learning style, and we then can transform the curricula into these 5 different learning styles. One of the issues in Uganda, as in elsewhere throughout Africa, is that most of the people who are unemployed are also illiterate in their native language. So producing these manuals in the original English in which they were written isn't very helpful. So again, my company will then take these transformed courses in the 5 learning styles, translate them into 5 of the 7 major languages of Uganda, the native languages of Uganda, and then dub them in the local language so that people who both can read them if they can, as well as to hear the presentations, hear the lessons. And this system both certifies that the students have actually taken the courses, and provides to employers the certification or the evidence that the student has actually learned what he or she has absorbed, and the courses teach the students to problem solve on their own. So that's the second of the 5 parts of the program. The first is the conversion of everything into digital format. The second is to convert everything into the 5 learning styles. The third piece is the translations into the local languages. The fourth piece, which is what the government there also would like, is training in entrepreneurship. So in Uganda, around 313,000 students per year go through the vocational education training, which the government largely provides. And but the government also wants many of these students to start their own small businesses, whether it's a small plumbing company, a small auto mechanics company, whatever the case may be. So we've also involved uh, courses from an American firm run by a major billionaire who has earned billions in his own ventures, and he will present modules, video modules, tailored to developing countries, because what the methods that work in the US don't necessarily work abroad, um, tailored to developing countries about entrepreneurship, about how to start, manage, run, market, invest in one's own business. And again, he's presenting in English. We will translate these courses into the 5 learning styles through the AI adaptive learning program, and then translate them into the local languages. And the fifth piece, which is perhaps the most essential in our case, is a letter of authorization from President Museveni's office itself to authorize us to raise money for this venture from interested investors. This is also a startup. So we're looking for both corporate investing and corporate investors, CSR, corporate social responsibility, as well as obviously private equity and grants or any other sources of funding available. So that is a very quick summary of the ventures that we have initiated in Africa.
Amazing. Some framework. You are based in the U.S.
Yes.
You are what, primarily in Philly or in Alameda?
Uh, our company is based in the Bay Area near San Francisco. I am primarily based near Philadelphia, in Philadelphia.
And generally, Auerbach International does world-class translation and localization and globalization for firms, targeting what types of companies?
Any kind of companies from Fortune 100s to small and medium enterprises, nonprofits, and government agencies at all levels, federal, state, and local. And we've been doing this for 35 years with outstanding excellence. We've award-winning customer service and excellence in delivery. And I should add also that again that our methods, our translation and interpretation methods, use a combination of AI plus human professional linguists to ensure accuracy and ensure precision, which AI solutions alone do not do and cannot do.
Very good. There's a couple people, if you haven't met them, that are really great fits for you. Peter Grabeck, because of his international activity. I don't know whether you've already connected up with Peter
No.
or not. And Lauren Cohen, who does some extraordinary work. There's a little bit of
We know
overlap.
each other, Doug. Hi, Philip. Nice to see you.
Okay. How do you guys know?
Thank you. Oh gosh, from I don't know. We've done some work together. I think from CEO Space, right, Philip?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it goes
Okay.
back a while.
Okay. Have you guys worked together recently?
No, not. We probably haven't spoken since like really kind of the tail end of COVID.
Okay. He could have been a good person to come on the cruise.
Yes, for sure he would have been. That's very true. Philip, actually, I'm doing a lot fighting anti-Semitism. I'll share an article that was just published in the National Post across Canada this weekend, so I know that will be relevant for you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I also, in my spare time, I also run 2 interfaith dialogue groups. So that would be very interesting. Thank you.
Sounds good. Donald Jacobson also does a lot of work around the world. And so Donald, knowing Philip probably is a really great connection for you.
Yeah, most definitely. Can you hear me? Just double checking.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about it because I came in a little bit late, but were you saying you are teaching the languages in Uganda? And did you say something about also job trainings and so forth? Is that what you guys are doing?
We're not teaching the languages, but we take the courses that we're preparing for the government,
Uh,
and after they've been transformed into the five learning styles, we will then translate them into five of the seven major Ugandan languages, and then dub
okay.
them also.
So I'm gonna put my email in the chat so we can connect because I do have a couple of projects right now I'm looking at in Uganda. So,
Wonderful. Great.
um,
And I will put my information in the chat as well.
okay, I appreciate it, Philip. We'll talk soon.
Nima Malele of Global Chamber uh, in Tanzania is in the room, and Nima, I'm not sure if you can share, but it'd be good to hear your perspective as well, whether it's here now or later in the meeting or at some point. I think getting Philip involved with the October event probably makes some sense as well. So when you can, it'd be great to hear. Does anybody else have any comments or thoughts? Very good. Well, thank you, Philip, for sharing. And please put your information in the chat area. And
Yeah.
if you wouldn't mind staying around for a little bit so that if people have
Sure.
comments and thoughts, would love
Of
to.
course. Yes, will do. Thank you.
So we're fairly open in terms of next steps. I know Hasnain is here in the room, and Peter, thank you for joining and looking forward to hearing anything that's going on in Africa. I know Johan Gagne is someone who's new to Global Chamber, and so definitely looks very interesting in terms of some of the things that you're working on. And mentioned, I think, about Ethel. Ethel, thank you for joining. Ruby was in a call earlier today that we had with our global team, and so she may be joining us here today as well. Does anybody have any comments or thoughts about things that are coming up or things that they would like to share? Nothing going on? Seriously? Okay, that's cool. Well, let me see what we can do here. This is Africa Week. And I know last week we were part of the Africa Forward conversation. And so hopefully we'll get an update on that soon on how that went. And then it's next week is the Accra conversation. And so next week is more of an AI conversation, but we've got Catherine Engman from Mindful Governance who will be speaking with, it looks like maybe Ruby. And so that looks great. That's next Tuesday, a little bit later in the, oh, no, about the same time, actually, same time next Tuesday. So welcome to that. For this week, we have two more events here at Global Chamber. And then tomorrow, I point out that we have the beginning of a conversation, the triangle of connectivity between business, economic development, and real estate. We have a conversation that is about foreign direct investment. And so if you'd like to fundamentally understand foreign direct investment and how it works and what the legality is and the limitations, but the opportunities, we've got an expert speaking about that tomorrow, at this time, tomorrow, actually. And then on Thursday, we have several different programs, including an update on USMCA, the US Mexico Canada agreement, and what's expected after May 1st. Lauren, I wouldn't want to have a meeting and not hear from you. What's the latest? I don't think we've checked in for a while. Do you have the ability to say hi and to check in?
The latest on what's going on immigration-wise, the latest on what's going on with anti-Semitism, the latest on my son playing baseball, the latest on the Blue Jays. Let's not discuss that, Doug. Okay, we'll move on from that one. That's not happening. But
The,
yes, which latest?
the Blue Jays. What's important for the international crowd?
Well, what's not important? Hi, I'm Lauren Cohen. I don't know why I'm wearing two pair of glasses, one to see, one to block the sun. And I'm originally from Toronto, living in South Florida. And for those of you who know me or have followed me or have talked to me, you know that I'm very actively involved in helping move people from other countries into the US, particularly through our signature program called How to Immigrate to Real Estate. It's a very interesting time. I just have like yesterday, 3 or 4 questions about EB5, about the Trump gold card, which I will not even take a case that wants to do that. It's very up in the air. I'm not going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole. So if you have people that ask you about the Trump gold card, they're not processing it yet. They're holding spots. Do I think they're ever going to? I don't know. Who knows? I don't profess or pretend to know what Trump is thinking. Um, he's been very good to the Jewish people, and that's a big deal for me because there's rampant anti-Semitism in Canada and many other countries around the world, France, the UK, um, lots of countries. I don't even want to go down the road, but and so in what I'm doing, I get heavy inquiries, probably more than 50% of my inquiries. And I was actually in the National Post, a national Canadian newspaper, this past weekend talking about this. And the irony is that I didn't even know I was being interviewed. I thought I was just having a conversation. I didn't know the guy worked for the National Post. And the next thing I know, I'm quoted, and two of the things that I said, I didn't even say. So it's kind of like, well, thank goodness I didn't say anything bad because I would be in big trouble, especially these days with what's going on. So it's an interesting time. The EB5 program, for those that know about it, is set to sunset. The EB5 program is where people are investing in real estate and business and projects and getting green cards and creating jobs. And there's a lot of misinformation going around, especially in Miami, because people are trying to sell the EB5 program as an opportunity to get a condo and a green card at the same time. So, what is really happening is you invest in a project that's building a condo and other mixed use related real estate, let's say, and you invest your 800,000 in this project. Your 800,000 eventually comes back to you, and instead of them actually returning the money to you, it gets invested in a condo. So they are playing on the marketing message. A lot of projects are doing this, particularly in Miami. And people are coming to me saying, "Oh, I get a condo." No, you're investing in building a project. So you don't get a condo, but that money eventually, hopefully, comes back to you. And then you can do whatever you want. So these developers are double dipping because now they're getting the money to build their project from the investors that are looking for green cards. Once the green card is issued, they're getting the money back for a condo. But it's just amazing that they're getting away with this, and I guess they're just playing with the words that it people are believing. Like I must have had a 45-minute conversation with a very smart investor yesterday about this, and she's like, "Well, they told me," blah blah. I go, "Yes, but I'm telling you, it's not possible." So anyway, it's an interesting time, let's just say. And for those that have any questions about people that are investing in, expanding their businesses to, or buying businesses in, or setting up shop, or developing franchises in the US or Canada for that matter, because that's where I'm from, and I'm still licensed up there, that's what we do. So we're very strategic. We are immigration lawyers, but we do a lot more than just immigration work. We actually help with the strategy. And we have actually, what you don't know, Doug, is I recently launched a brand new product. It's called the US Strategic Entry Roadmap, because there are so many wannabe or so-called visa experts that just get you a visa, and that's not going to help your family in the long term. So we have this roadmap product we're launching at the end of the month with a webinar. And it's basically to show all the different options that you might have as a foreign national available to you to stay in the US, not just come to the US and get a visa, but like what happens next. So that's what I do.
Sounds great. That sounds like a great program for what I talked about is the weekly call. There's always an element, or our intent is to have an element of that, of living in Portugal, living in Mexico, living in the US, and what's involved with doing that from an immigration standpoint. So we'd love to get you participating. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. And by the way, Doug, you had told me something about obviously not happening now, but about I know it's the James and Ellen's event, but about speaking at something this week or next. Next week, I'm definitely not available, and probably not this week either. But if you want to send me details, I spoke to Caesar yesterday. Just let me know, and I'll see if I can coordinate some time. Okay.
That's the program. So that's the Wednesday program. So yeah,
But what time is that Eastern?
they're 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. So let me know and I'll try to coordinate it. So I can.
Every Wednesday. So
Yep.
the one tomorrow is about foreign direct investment, and then we've got every week we've got some focus. So I'll circle back with you.
Thank you.
Hi, Nima. Thank you for raising your hand. Nima's Global Chamber, Tanzania. And so she's very in tune with what's going on the ground in Tanzania and Southern Africa and all across Africa through a variety of connections. Are you able to say hi, Nima, and give an update? Sometimes technology won't allow it. We recognize your hand up, and so when you can unmute yourself, please do. And I don't.
Hello,
Oh, there
can
you
you hear
are.
me? Yeah.
How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to update on what is happening across Africa and also in particularly also in Tanzania. So we have had so many things that are happening across Africa, and there's a current strong momentum around investment, infrastructure, digital transformation, regional trade, and private sector growth. So countries are increasingly using conferences and summits as platforms to attract investors, strengthening partnerships, and position themselves strategically in the global economy. Recently, Kenya hosted a major continental summit focused on AI, the Africa Forward, on AI technology infrastructure, climate, and trade. We have seen a lot of African leaders in Kenya, but before that, they also hosted the Africa We Want. What is the topic now in East Africa, where Aliko Dangote expressed interest in investing an oil refinery in East Africa. So it's a debate where uh, actually the oil refinery is going to be built. He has spoken to Ruto, the president of Kenya, but he recently, last week, he was in Tanzania, speaking with the president of Tanzania also, and he concluded by saying that the experts on the ground looking which place is best to build the refinery, whether in Tanga, Tanzania, or in Mombasa. So we are yet to wait and see. But in the African Forward, we've seen a lot of MOUs and DFIs, especially from the French, has been, signed with African leaders in different countries. Also, there's been a Africa CEO conference that happened in Rwanda, which also has, had a lot of way forwards and commitments that improve trade. We're seeing a lot of countries now coming to invest. And we think now USA is also waking up, and a lot of other European countries trying to also being active like the way Chinese are. So there's a lot that is happening. And in Tanzania particularly, we've had Kenya and Investment Forum, which was very great. We know that Tanzania and Kenya, they're both in East Africa, but combined, we are having a very great economy together. So it was a very successful summit, and based on that, next year, there's AFCON coming in 2027 in Tanzania. So the country is attracting increasingly international interest due to its strategic location. But overall, Africa is entering a period where collaboration, trade integration, investment promotion, and African-led development conversations are becoming more important than ever. So this creates strong opportunities. What I say is that for me, I say this is the opportunity from now to 2029. This is the time that anyone who wants to enter Africa, I think this is the right time, where the world, we know the world is in uncertainty. It's fragmented. A lot of things are happening, but I think this is the time to make a best move before entering 2030. That's my feeling. So thank you, Doc. And one more thing, we are recruiting. We are having a conference in October 8th to 9th in Namibia. So we are expanding our continental global footprints. So we are looking for leaders and institutions with strong networks in trade and investment, government relations, private sector engagement, SMEs, entrepreneurships, diaspora business ecosystem, and international development partnerships to work with us and to have a strategic partnerships. We are looking for trade and investment representatives and diaspora business connectors. Thank you very much, Doug.
Thank you, Nima. Thank you for your leadership. Does anybody have any questions for Nima? Any thoughts? And hearing none, please feel free to interrupt. Just a couple quick notes about some of the activity in Africa right now. There is momentum, as Nima mentioned, about trade, and I like that initiative about between now and 2030 to fully get involved and to be integrated. There is momentum with AFCFTA. The trade reached a record $220 billion in most recent period, and so there's continuing to be process, just like what we saw with when NAFTA first came into play. Once these trade agreements happen and they start to lower barriers, trade happens. And so what happened in between Mexico, Canada, and the US is happening all across Africa today. So continue to expect this over the next decades. China has a zero tariff mechanism for 53 African countries. It's intended to be boosting African exports. And so that's certainly part of the news that's going on in trade today. As Nima mentioned, the French side of things, in particular, the event that happened last week in Kenya, that was the Africa Forward event, was part of what French President Emmanuel Macron is doing with his initiatives. He announced a $27 billion European investment package for the continent to do what he calls a fundamental reset for Africa-Europe trade relations. And so that trade meeting was important and one to look at as a milestone going forward. Um, those are some of the things that are going on in Africa right now. Before we close the room, does anybody have any additional comments or thoughts or questions?
Yeah, Doug.
Yes,
Um,
please. Please go ahead.
so I just Nima, I'll be emailing you. I saw your email up there. And Lauren, also I'll be emailing you too. I have some questions concerning what you talked about today. But right now, just to let y'all know, Night Yield Consulting Services is looking at several projects right now in Africa, Uganda, and several other places right now. Somalia is another project that we're looking at. So we are heavily moving into Africa and other regions, the GCC and so forth. And we're also partnering up with different capitalists because a lot of these projects still need funding, which is one of the things we keep finding in any project right now. One of the biggest projects right now is a roadway system and so forth that we're partnering with, and that's all due to you, Doug, because we had a meeting a couple weeks ago with Reba Hussain, and so through her and through her partnerships, we've gotten a lot of projects that we're reviewing right now. So that's what's happening with us. So we're always open to partner and look at different projects around the world as we keep growing.
Fantastic. Congratulations. I know you've got a new person in Dubai, I believe, right? That reached out.
Yes, Rasha. Rasha is definitely somebody that I'm very excited about. Her and I met over a year ago. We weren't able to connect at that time business-wise, but we maintained our friendship, and now she has come on board with us as our strategic business development partner. And so that's one of the great things about it is that she has a worldwide connection, and so we're definitely in meetings every day because of her also. So,
We have World Trade Month every month between May and December. And so this month is North America. Next month is the GCC region. And so watch for information about, and maybe we can get her involved. It'll largely be led by our team in the UAE, but it will also include our folks and members in Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, Bahrain, and Qatar, and maybe I'm leaving someone out, but there's at least those six countries.
yeah, and Iman is definitely one that we've partnered with, and also we're looking at a couple more partnerships in there, all coming through the Global Chamber, which is great because they're all members and so forth. So the network of the Global Chamber is definitely helping us to expand even more. So appreciate it.
Wonderful. Well, next we'll have a whole month dedicated to Africa. I'm not sure when that is, but next month, considering the proximity and the interactions, we'll definitely be including Africa in the conversations for World Trade Month for GCC. Hasnain, thank you again for joining, and Johan, thank you for joining. I'm looking forward to learning more about what you're involved with. Had a great conversation. Ravi, same way. Good to learn more about what you're doing, and thank you for participating with Global Chamber, and looking forward to finding ways to work with you. And Mel, similarly, you've got an amazing offering and product. Hopefully, you'll be able to be sharing that in the Global Chamber Atlanta meeting that's coming up later as well. The rest of today, it looks like in an hour, we've got that Atlanta meeting. And then in 2 hours, we have an event in Spanish. It's a connecting event in Spanish led by Cesar Trabanco. And then the next meeting, it looks like, is tomorrow morning, as we were talking about earlier with Lauren, focused on foreign direct investment this time tomorrow, and then a variety of other meetings. Typically, we'll have 1 to 6 events a day, and somewhere or several dozen events usually every week. And I encourage you not to go to every event. That's too much to ask, but definitely go to the ones that are of interest. As a member, fill in Globy and update Globi, our AI tool. She loves to learn more about our members, and she gives us advice on who to make connections to, and that's good for everybody. Any final comments that people have, please? Philip, would you like to make any closing comments?
Not necessarily. I think what people are doing is obviously critically important, and most people overlook Africa, of course, and have very negative views about it, thinking politically about coups and so forth, and don't realize the tremendous potential there. I was shocked to learn, I'm a member of various local groups here in Philadelphia as well as in California, and I was shocked to learn that the Ghanaian American Chamber of Commerce is based here in Philadelphia. The Liberian Trade and Investment Corporation is based here in Philadelphia. And what most Americans are not aware of is that there's a very large African diaspora here in Philadelphia, up here in the United States, all across the country. And the two major regions of the world that have sent students here are India and the subcontinent, mainly India, as well as from Africa. And a lot of these students who come for both college, master's, and doctorate degrees then stay and obviously build families here, build businesses here, so forth, but maintain connections in Africa. So there are a lot of again, diaspora networks or Black Americans who are very interested in Africa connections, especially in Ghana, for example.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Appreciate you sharing. Well, that's the end of, I believe, our program. Thanks everybody for joining. Join along the way, and if you have some needs and interests, please reach out. I encourage all of you to follow LinkedIn, the Global Chamber company page and the Global Chamber group page. Both of them have news about what's going on with members and opportunities, and focused in on that. The connections, as Donald mentioned, are endless, and so feel free, to connect in and connect into the trusted network. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Cheers.